Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another cooking video. My last video I was talking about making bagels, but right now I'm going to be making sourdough muffins. Sourdough English muffins. So I already got this stuff going. So basically you want 4 tablespoons of unsalted butter. I use salted, whatever. Put this into a nice warm pot, and then you're going to have 250 grams of milk and 120 grams of water. I'm just going to heat those up till they melt. Yeah, so 120 grams of water, 56 grams of unsalted butter cubed, 245 grams of milk, whole or 2%. So we're making some sourdough English muffins. And if you're here for my last video, my bagel dough is sitting right here. It's going to rest for 45 minutes or an hour. But that's a totally different video. Feel free to check out that video here if you want. And if you followed me from that last video, you're awesome. So this is going to heat up till it's melted. You don't want it hot. You just want it melted. So, don't mind my messy kitchen. You're going to stir this up until it melts. You only want it warm. You don't want it hot, or else you'll kill the yeast in your starter. There's some bread I made earlier. Delicious. And I usually clean my kitchen, like I've said before, but it's an active kitchen. I just made dinner, made some beef stew with rice, and yeah, I didn't have time to clean up because I wanted to make this because my starter had bubbled over twice. So once this is done melting and blending in, then I'm going to pour it into the into the mixing bowl with the starter and salt. Yeah, looks pretty good. Nothing too crazy, just melted it. Alright, so we're going to add starter and sugar to a bowl. So, I'm going to leave this here. Don't mind that. Alright, so we're going to be using 75 grams of healthy, well-fed starter, which my last video, this had already bubbled over, so it's still really fresh. And it has already risen quite a bit since the last time I took from it. So, this is going to be great. Alright, so 75 grams of healthy starter. So that's 85 grams, but you know, I'm sure that'll be fine. It'll be extra fluffy. So I'll set that there. Then we're going to get 24 grams of sugar. And it seems like I'm acting fast, cooking fast. It's because I am. I have a limited amount of space left on my phone. I didn't clear out the space from the last video, so we're moving quick. Alright, so 24 grams of sugar. See, boom, perfect. 2 full spoonfuls right on the money. So then we're going to pour in the milk mixture and then whisk and combine. So this is all we're doing. Pour it in, whisking, whisking, whisking. And then we're going to add in 500 grams of all-purpose flour. Everyone has that. So we're going to set this right here. Tear it. All-purpose flour. 500 grams. Trying to do this quick for you. That's 100, 232, 381. And 519. So let's take some out. Just a bit. Alright, that works. So now we're going to get that whisk out of there. We're going to put it on the mixer, and it's going to go. Oh, don't want to forget the salt. Almost forgot the salt. 9 grams. I don't usually do this, but in a rush. Boom, 9 grams. Perfect. All right, now we put this on the mixer and let it rip. We're just gonna mix until it's all thoroughly incorporated. And then once that's done, you're going to let it rest for 30 minutes while covered with a damp towel. And then you're going to form it into a nice bowl, or a nice ball. And then it's gonna bulk ferment for 8 to 10 hours or overnight, which is what I usually do. So this will be ready when my bagels are ready. So I will see you in the morning. Morning. It is now morning time, and the sourdough English muffin dough mix has been sitting in my oven overnight. It's been about 12 hours. I would have brought them out a little bit sooner, but you know, had to clean the kitchen. So what we're going to do now is we're going to lay this out. We're going to roll it out into a nice rectangle. Then we're going to use a roughly 3-inch diameter glass to cut out the muffins. And then we're going to lay them on parchment paper, cover them in a damp towel, and let them rest for about an hour until they puff up nicely. So let's go ahead and get started. Just got to flour the surface so they don't stick too much. Just lightly, just super lightly. Okay, that should be good. Now we're going to lay them out. Oh, just so you can see it, really nice and puffy. Perfect. Got a little bit extra. There we go. So we don't want to press out all the bubbles. You don't want to do that. So what some people do is they just kind of massage it a little bit, stretch it out. They might just stretch it. But I like to have a really even consistency or even thickness. So I just try and roll it really gently. Oh, that's a little bit sticky. So add a little bit of flour to it, unstick it. Ooh, this one's real sticky. Alright, let's add a little bit of flour to the rolling pin. Now sometimes this happens, maybe you didn't hydrate or soak up and everything properly, but you know, you will work with it and that's fine. Just add a little bit of extra flour. Okay, a little bit of flour over here on the sticky side. It's nothing too crazy to worry about. So you want to roll it out to between a 1/4 inch and a 1/2 inch thickness. So we're looking to get about 12 English muffins. So we want to try and make a rectangle. Should be nice. Nice. See, I'm not popping all the bubbles. You can still see there's a lot of bubbles all over the place. You don't want to press really hard. I'm just kind of resting my fingers on it and rolling. I'm not really pressing. Just kind of letting the weight of the rolling pin do it with just very slight downward pressure. Very slight. Okay, that's actually pretty good. So I'm going to get some parchment paper, lay it out, and then as I cut them out, I'm going to get cornmeal. Cornmeal, as I'm sure you've had English muffins before, covers the top and bottom of the English muffin. During the cooking process, it makes them slide around really easily to where they're essentially non-stick in the pan. It's fantastic. So let's go ahead and get some parchment paper laid out. Alright, gonna lay out the parchment paper a decent amount. I like to lay it rolly side down so it kind of counteracts its natural curling tendencies. If you want, just lay parchment paper box on it. Let's go just with the other box. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take the cornmeal and you're going to just sprinkle a healthy amount onto the parchment paper. So when you lay down your English muffins, they will rest on it and they will be non-stick on here. Parchment paper is already kind of non-stick, but this will also make it one so the cornmeal goes right into the dough, so it kind of, I don't know, soaks into it, I guess, or embeds into it, and so you can slide it right onto the pan when we go to cook them. So let's go ahead and start cutting out some rings. I just dunk it in the flour a little bit, and we're looking to get 12 of them. Just press and twist. You'll hear a little air come out. You'll hear a little, and I really like that sound. So just be careful when you pick them up. They might be a little bit sticky. And you just lay them down on the paper. Sometimes when I go to my mother-in-law's house, my sister-in-law, she's there and she brings her boys, and they like to help out with this. They've helped me make these before. They've helped me make sourdough dinner rolls before, which is a huge hit. They all really love them, and they really like to help make them. So it's good to get people involved, especially ones that are actually interested. Yeah, and these are good sized English muffins. Now these will puff up more as they rest, and then even more when they cook. Alright, these look really good. Got 5 there. Now something you can do is, once you cut all these out, you're going to have all this extra dough. What you can do if you're trying to squeeze out more is ball it up again, roll it out again, and then cut out more. They might not be the same consistency. They might not puff up the same way as the original ones, but I'm sure they will taste just as good. It's okay if they get a little bit misshapen. It's not a big deal. All right, we got 7 there. 8. 9. Let's see if we can get 12. 10. Alright. We might be able to. We might not have rolled it big enough. 11. Alright. So I'm going to have to roll this out a little bit. See, not that big a deal. There's still plenty of air bubbles in it. And 12. Perfect. This is what this recipe calls for, that it says how much it's going to make. So all this scrap dough, if you don't want to waste it, which I don't mind tossing it, but you can ball it up like this, add a little bit of flour, just a little bit, roll it up again to a nice ball, just like you would any other sourdough. And then you just roll it out again. But this one's going to be much tougher because it doesn't want to roll out. See how it pulls back in? So you don't have to do this. I'm just showing you that you can. So I'm not going to end up doing this. So this dough is going to go back. So, all right. So at this point, you've got your 12 English muffins, and what you're going to do, you're going to take your cornmeal, and then generously on top sprinkle. Okay. These are going to sit here for an hour as they puff up with a damp cloth on top. So I'm just going to take the same towel that I had on top of them all night. Make sure you squeeze out most of the water. Just don't let it soak. Very lightly damp. Then you're going to take this off. And then just place this just like that. Gonna rest right on top. I like to use warm water to add a little more temperature to them so they bulk up and puff up even just a little bit more. Then we're gonna come back to these in an hour. See you in an hour. All right, now we get to the fun part of the English muffins. So what we're gonna do, go ahead and uncover your beautiful English muffins. They've puffed up a tiny bit, but most of the puffing is going to come with the cooking. So, go ahead and get yourself a non-stick pan. I like my cast iron, so I'm getting my cast iron, put it on a nice medium heat, wait until it heats up. You're not going to see me for much of this, so I'm sure that's perfectly fine. So what we're going to do, get a nice spatula of sorts. Not like this one will work. So what you're going to do is, I know it's non-stick, but that doesn't mean I don't want to add just the tiniest little bit of spray. Just the tiniest bit, and that should be good for the entire batch. So this is going to heat up. Then as it cooks, you're going to let it cook for 3 to 4 minutes on both sides, depending on how hot you have the oven, or how hot you have your stove. So because it's cast iron, it might cook faster or slower. So the recipe calls for 8 to 10 minutes, but we're going to see how it goes because you're looking for a nice golden brown top and bottom. So this is getting up to temperature, so we're going to go ahead and start. Just take one at a time, lay it down gently. Now you just let it cook, and we'll get to it. I'll come back as soon as they're ready to flip. Alright, let's go ahead and give them a nice little check. Okay, that's a really nice little golden brown, nice and crispy. So let's go ahead and flip the rest of them. Alright, that looks pretty good. So there's nothing wrong with flipping them back once the other side is done to crisp them up even just a little bit more. So we're going to let these cook and then we'll come back. Well, that's it, folks. Hopefully you can make these and they turn out just as delicious as mine did. You can throw on some raspberry jelly, some blueberry jam, butter, cream cheese, whatever you want. They're delicious. Well, I'll see y'all next time. Enjoy yourselves.